Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Rohit Lade, Department of Chemical Engineering, Parul Institute of Technology, Parul University, Vadodara. I welcome you all to the webinar on advances in metal 3D printing of process equipments by Abhinav Arya. Mr. Abhinav Arya, he is BTech from IIT BHU Varanasi. He has a work experience at Mecon Limited, Government of India, Assistant Design Engineer. So then he has pursued MTech and PhD degree at IISc Bangalore, and he is right now a senior research fellow at IISc Bangalore, and he has research interest in mechanical metallurgy, material selection and design, and 3D printing, etc. So I hand over the podium to Mr. Abhinav Arya. Abhinav, sir, you can proceed.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Lade. So let me share my presentation. Yeah. Okay. So is it visible?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Rohit. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Abhinav Arya. I'm a research scholar at Department of Materials Engineering, IISc Bangalore. And today I'll be presenting a introductory talk on the metal 3D printing in process equipment. So I'll be talking how the 3D printing of metal is done, and it is also known as additive manufacturing. So what are the different aspects of it? So I'll be talking about it. So if I start with introduction, so we know that traditionally, if we see that the manufacturing that we do of any component manufacturing that we do, it is essentially a subtractive process. Why? Because essentially what we do, we take a block of metal or whatever material we need to make component from it, and we then remove material from it, like we do machining. So if we want to make all these cavities in the component, then we'll just remove the material from it. So what happens is so we remove the material, so the wastage of material is very high in all the traditional manufacturing processes. And there are many steps that are involved for producing a finished product. So like if we want to make any component of any frame or anything, then there will be drawing, rolling, all those steps will be there. Then there will be machining like this, and after that there will be finishing. So all these steps will be involved to get a final product. And due to all these what steps, it is very difficult to machine intricate shapes of component. Like if we want a component with certain shapes of very fine shapes in it, it will be very difficult to machine it. So the designing of our material, so whatever component design we need, it is limited by the manufacturing limitations. So whatever we can manufacture, that only we can design. So maybe in designing we can think of so many components which are much more efficient and in so many ways, but unless we are able to design those material, it is means that design is useless, because we cannot use it in real world. So then comes the 3D printing, which is also known as the additive manufacturing. So what is additive manufacturing? So additive manufacturing, which is also known as 3D printing, it is essentially a set of different sets of techniques which are used to fabricate the material or a component layer by layer. So it is like printing a material or a component layer by layer. So it is called 3D printing, and where we use a 3D model from any digital model from a CAD file or a CATIA, wherever we use the digital 3D model, and then layer by layer we fabricate our material. So here is a small video. I'll just show how this 3D printing takes place. So here on the substrate, I am showing this technique that I'm showing is called laser deposition, laser metal deposition, and you can see that from this nozzle, molten metal is coming, which is feeding from here, and laser is melting it, and then that is getting deposited. And using this, from whatever design we have, we can print our component in real time, and we can then change the orientation of the means we can do so many things, and we can make our component whatever shape component we want. We can directly get a finished product from our this 3D printing technique. So 3D printing is this additive manufacturing is a blanket term that is used for various different techniques that are used to do additive manufacturing. So there are various categories of these techniques, and in those categories there are various different techniques which are used for all the materials. So like there in the categories there are binder jetting there is direct energy deposition, there is material extrusion, there is material jetting, then there is powder bed diffusion. So all these are different category of techniques that are there for 3D printing, and these are used for like this binder jetting technique is used for metal, polymer, ceramic, all it is used for all. Similarly, this direct energy deposition is also used for it is used for metal only. So powder and wire. So what I was showing you earlier, so that was a laser deposition technique. So we use metal powder or wire, and then we melt it using the laser, and then we deposit it. So this is another very useful technique for metal deposition, for metal 3D printing. Then there is this metal extrusion, which is generally used for polymer. Again, this is also generally used for polymer. Then this another important technique that is used in metal uh, this thing metal additive manufacturing. These are powder bed fusion. So we use powder, metallic powder, and then we use laser or we use electron beam to selectively melt the metal and fuse the powder bed at certain places, and layer by layer we do it in such a way that our component get built. So here is a schematic I'm showing of how this powder bed fusion technique. So I'm showing this electron beam melting here. So you can see this is a just a schematic. So this much part is similar to the electron microscope that we use, scanning electron microscope or TEM. So here is the electron beam column and then the filament. So this whole thing is our electron gun is there. Then we have the lenses, the astigmatism lenses, then focus lenses, and these lenses to deflect our electron beam. So after that, what we have two feeder, the powder hopper from which the powder comes, the metallic powder comes, and we have this platform. On this platform the powder will come, then electron beam will selectively fuse the bed at certain places. Then this platform will go a little bit down, then another layer of powder will be spread over that, and then again this electron beam will fuse the powder at certain places. So like that we can print whatever component we want and with whatever intricacies we want. And since it is using electron beam, so the resolution of the component finish that we can get is very good in this one. So why we use additive manufacturing? So as I already told you that in the traditional manufacturing technique, we have seen that the wastage of material is very high because we are essentially removing the material from all the places where we don't need the material. But here, since we are depositing the material, it is an additive manufacturing technique. So the wastage of material is very less, and it also allows us to design material with means we can design new means we can use new designings, and all those designs which we were not able to manufacture earlier with traditional manufacturing techniques, we can now design those. So we can innovate in design new designs. We can think of which are much more efficient. Then we can also design complex parts in, so we don't need, usually there will be many different parts that will be weld together, but since here we are making a single component, so we can make very complex part in a single piece. So this also enhances the property of the component. Then we can use customized components, like at certain places we need certain different property, at certain other places we need different property, like this. And the complex assemblies that are there, so there will be different parts that will be joined together. In traditional manufacturing, here we can have a single component. So like here you can see, if I need all these intricacies in my material, I can simply manufacture it in a single piece. And so like here you can see, here also in this golf stick, we need mass at certain places, high mass at certain places, and low mass at certain places. So we can design our material in such a way, so directly we can design our component in this way. Like similarly here, this also, this engine that you are seeing, so we need for manufacturing such kind of component, there are many steps and lot of wastage of material is there, but here we can directly print it. So it also allows us to tailor the materials property. Why? Because we are depositing the material layer by layer, so we can also tailor the material property. I'll talk about this in next slide. And it also, the another advantage of manufacturing, additive manufacturing, is fast prototyping. So if we are making various designs of a component, so we can very easily make the prototype of it and test it in real environment. So this is a very big advantage of this additive manufacturing. It makes the prototyping very easy. So let's talk about the microstructure tailoring. So this is study, this images I have taken from this paper from Kumar. He's my colleague from Kumar et al. His ACTA material paper. So we know that mechanical properties depends on microstructure. So if we want, means whatever microstructure will be there, that will dictate how the mechanical behavior of that material will be, right? So using this AM parameter, so what, there are various parameters that will define how the microstructure will evolve in my AM deposited material. So we can change these parameters, we can play with these parameters, and we can tailor the property of our material. So like this is the microstructure of a regular, means a conventionally produced alloy. This is a Ti64, which is a very means which is readily used in aerospace industries. So you can see it has a microstructure like this, and but here in a 3D printed alloy, this is the same alloy which is 3D printed. So you can see the microstructure is means we can change the our the direction of build direction, or we can change the angle of build at different this thing at different layers. We can change at different angle, we can change the speed, we can change the temperature, we can change so many things, and using those we can tailor the microstructure to whatever need we want. So we can change the grain boundary properties, all these properties, grain boundaries are there, we can play with them. We can, so we are getting these columnar boundaries which are not good for the material properties, so we can change the angle of this, means we can one layer, if we deposit like this, then next layer we deposit at a 45 degree. So like this we can change from means we can play with all these parameters, and we can change the microstructure. Similarly, if we change the time and temperature, all those things, we can change the grain size. And what it allows us also is to get different grain size at different places. So if we need a material with different property at different places, like if I talk about a certain material, we need with very fine microstructure at the outer layer, and coarse microstructure in the inner layer. So we can play with these AM parameters, and we can get very fine microstructure in the outer region and coarse microstructure in the inner region. So this we can do, and it allows us to, so therefore it allows us to get different mechanical properties at different places. So now let's talk about the applications of this additive manufacturing in chemical engineering. So in chemical engineering, it is means studies have shown that it can be used to design electrodes. So like in when we do this all this electrochemistry, in that the electrode design means the property of our reaction depends largely on the design of the electrode. So usually we, instead of this, we use the mesh electrode, but where the bubbling start very early. But this studies has shown from this paper, they have shown that they have designed the material, this their electrode using additive manufacturing, and they have shown that the properties of these electrodes were much superior than the conventionally used electrode, and the bubbling was delayed. Also, the electrochemical properties they can tune, so whatever property they want at whatever places they can use it. So it provides so many use cases. Similarly, it has a better, means, so this in electrode, the surface property also affects the this thing, the electrochemical property. So that also can be taken care by the additive manufacturing. Similarly, means it is used for making hydrogen storage. It is used for producing, means these are not readily used, but it has applications in producing pipelines, in producing cylindrical vessels which are used for fuels storage, and all these fuel tanks. So now if I talk about, if I'm talking about hydrogen storage, so it has a very potential application in the storage of hydrogen. And since hydrogen is becoming very, means there's a very high probability that in the future hydrogen fuels will be very useful. So it has a very good application in using the additive manufacturing can be used to produce storage facilities where hydrogen can be stored very easily. So when we store hydrogen in any cylinder, the major problem is the hydrogen embrittlement. So what happens is hydrogen goes into the microstructure, into the interstitials, and it reduces the fracture toughness of the material. It reduces the mechanical property. So like here you can see, this is the 718 nickel alloy, and so these have a very good this fracture toughness. Both the 725 and 718, both in the hydrogen free condition, they have very good fracture toughness. But after charging them with hydrogen for a certain period of time, the fracture toughness of both of these alloys have reduced drastically. So this shows that hydrogen is very deteriorating for the mm, for all the alloys. So and this is I'm showing from a study. So what they have done, they have changed the build direction. So in this one, the build direction was vertical, and if they are charging hydrogen from this side, so the build direction was vertical, and in this one the build direction of the additive manufacturing alloy was horizontal. And you can see how it has affected the this hydrogen embrittlement after hydrogen charging for many hours. The vertical, in the vertical, the hydrogen has penetrated to such deep locations, but in the this thing, in horizontally built alloys, you can see the hydrogen was not able to go penetrate very deeply. So this shows that by optimizing these AM parameters, the additive manufacturing parameters, we can significantly reduce the hydrogen embrittlement behavior. And this is a very hot topic that is currently that is being studied. So if we can, using additive manufacturing, we can design new alloys with superior hydrogen embrittlement facility, then it will be very useful for hydrogen storage. Now, if I talk about the applications in aerospace engineering, so yeah, so see, in aerospace engineering, in aerospace industry, the very important point to remember is the our component should be of lightweight. Means we need as lightweight component as possible with superior mechanical properties. So if I want to, let's say I want to use this bracket, if I want to design this bracket, so if initially I have this ingot, I want this, if I make this component from conventional route, then it shows that first I'll be doing milling, then I'll be doing machining, and then final finished product. So it just compare how the weight of the material will be. So it will be around 1 kg. So I'll have a component of 1 kg. Whereas if I use the additive manufacturing route, I'll use the powder of this one, and then it will have and if I design using electron beam melting, so this is a case study I'm showing. So then the component that I get is only of 0.38 kg. So you can see there's almost a 60% decrease in the weight of the material. So this is very useful in aerospace industry, because the weight of the material is reduced. Also the design, we can play with the design, because we don't means whatever design we can, most efficient design is there, we can directly print it. There's no need for machining is required. So that's why the design of the material is much means better. So new designs that were not possible earlier, now we can use it. We can make it, like you can see here, this is the inside the engine. So this means this part they have designed using a new design is there, and it is much better than the old one. And the other thing is, as I've already told you, the rapid prototyping, that is means that is always required. Like whatever new design you make for a component, you have to design it in real environment. So prototyping is a very important part of it. And like using this 3D printing, this prototyping becomes very easy. So like this is a component that has been made using 3D printing, and this reduces the cost of prototyping. Means some case studies have shown that the cost of prototyping using this in aerospace industry using uh, additive manufacturing has gone down by 90%. So means because it is very easy, you can there's no time delays there. You can directly design a material component on your digital model. You can design a digital model of your component, and directly within few hours you'll get a real model of that prototype of that component, and you can test on it. So this reduces the cost of this thing drastically. Yeah. Now, if I talk about the application in medical, so another field where this is very readily used, this additive manufacturing is very readily used, is medical implant. And when we make means earlier it was all the implants were traditionally made using traditional manufacturing technique, but now the additive manufacturing is very widely used there. So like for dental implants, additive manufacturing is used because we can get the exact shape, whatever implant shape we require, we can get it. And then if someone has met with a very serious accident, then we can have a bone damaged bone repair. All those things we can make new implants which can be used in the bone. In here I'm showing an example of skull. So all these things means in medical implant, the additive manufacturing is very important. Similarly, in this hip and knee implants, we require this the cup that is usually earlier it was made of ceramics. Now this metallic material is used, and the surface property that is required, it should have a very rough surface. So this all we can get from additive manufacturing. Whatever surface property we need, we can get, and it is means this is very widely used in medical facility, in medical uh, industry. So now if I talk, so see, additive manufacturing is like it has so many benefits, but still it is not very widely used. So there are certain limitations, so I'll talk about those also. So in additive manufacturing, so we know it's a very promising manufacturing technique, but still it is not used for mass production, right? Why? Because in what happens is, uh, see, so this process we are that I'm talking about additive manufacturing, it is mainly used in prototyping or where only one or two components are required. Like it is still not used for producing mass component. Why? Because there's a very high cost involved in it, and the reason for this high cost is the patent. So all these techniques are means currently all the printers that are there in additive manufacturing that are used. So all these techniques are patented techniques. So within next few years, these patents will expire. So that will reduce the cost of additive manufacturing drastically. But still, the cost of manufacturing still will not compete with, means it will be very difficult for this thing to compete with uh, the traditional manufacturing technique in mass production, because they are like, if you make a certain, means if you make a certain initial investment, then you can mass produce repeatedly mass produce your component again and again. But here you are again and again, like if you are making a component, so you are again and again making same component by essentially what you are doing, you are welding kilometers of powder into a single shape. So that increases the cost. But still, this once these patents will be gone in few years, it will reduce the cost of the additive manufacturing. Then it is a very slow process. So as I told, you are welding so many powder particle together, so this reduces the time, means this reduces the speed also, then that's why the process is very slow. Then so means all these things can be taken care of by further research, and further research it will enhance these all these limitations. Then there is defects in the component. So whatever 3D printed components that we get, they usually have a certain amount of porosity in it. Why? Because like if I am doing, let's say, selective laser melting, SLM I am doing, so in these points, so there will be small, these gaps will be left where porosity, means where material will not be able to get. So that will create porosity in the material. So these porosity, like here you are seeing a micro polished surface of a 3D printed alloy. So these porosities are there, and they can reduce the mechanical behavior of this material. They can means affect the mechanical behavior of this material drastically. They can reduce the fatigue life. So because of these porosity, the fatigue life can be reduced, the fracture toughness can be reduced. So all these things will reduce the mechanical behavior of our material, means it will in so. But still there are various techniques now, new researches are going on which are improving all these behavior, and now people are able to get alloys with superior mechanical property even with the traditional counterpart. So these all are research field, and I means in within few years the additive manufacturing will be very widely used in many uh, fields. So yeah, so thank you. That was my presentation and overview.
Thank you, Abhinav sir. Very nice seminar. Uh, there are few questions. If you can answer,
Yeah.
few students have asked questions. Uh, Basic questions like what are the analysis method utilized for 3D printed materials? If you
Okay.
can tell.
So analysis, like if we talk about, it depends on the where is our this thing, where is the application of that material. Like if we need a material with a very good fatigue life, right, or a nice good fracture toughness, So it is means we require the material to have very low porosity. Means if there are voids in the material, they can act as the defect. Means they can act as the crack initiation sites, and from there the fatigue life means the fatigue crack can propagate, and that can reduce the fatigue life of the material. So like that, it is very important to know what is the application, and depending on that application we have to see the, like in some cases, in some application we require material with with very high hardness. So in that case we require material with very fine microstructure or very fine grain size. So it depends on the means material application to application, it varies.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I will rephrase this question that are there any analytical techniques like X-ray or something like electron microscopy for
Yeah.
analyzing
So,
materials, like
yeah.
strength of the materials? You can test it with like UTM, Universal Testing Machine,
Yeah.
right? Like percentage of elongation, tensile
Yeah.
strength, maximum elongation. So, are there specific techniques for metallic materials which are 3D printed?
So, means all these techniques that you have told, like electron microscopy, X-ray diffraction, XRD, or and means all these techniques that are used to, all the NDT techniques, the ultrasonic techniques that we
Yeah.
use to examine the material in traditionally machined material, the same techniques are used,
Yeah.
can be used here also to, like there's this X-ray, this tomography technique is there that is used to that use X-ray to see through the uh, it sees through the this whole thickness and see what are the defects that are present in within the material. So
Okay.
tomography is widely used to see the porosity or the defects that are present, impurities that are present in the material. Similarly, XRD is used to see what are the phases that are formed in the material. So all those techniques that are traditionally used, they can be used. These are same material, just the manufacturing techniques are different.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
One more question from one student. Sir, is it durable? I mean, the material which is 3D printed is strong enough if even if there are pore sizes in the material or the equipment, and will it sustain the application?
Yes. So let me show you here. In so as I've told you, in aerospace industry, these uh, are already in use. The components that are additively manufactured are already used. So the thing is, as means I am sure he means people have seen this image and they will think that it will have a very bad mechanical properties because it has so much porosity. But here I'm just showing that it can have this kind of porosity, but new means people have studied and they have formed, they have optimized the all the parameters, and now the materials that we are producing from additive manufacturing are as good as the means not even as good as, they are in many cases they are better than the traditionally manufactured components. So like in aerospace, like I have told you here, all these components that are manufactured using additive manufacturing, these are means these are performing much better than the traditionally manufactured component. It's just that the we cannot mass produce them because the it requires again and again it. So but where the specific this thing in specific applications where we need material with very good mechanical properties, although we can means the cost doesn't matter that much, in those applications the materials are means components are getting used using additive manufacturing. Similarly, in medical applications also, like all these implants that I am showing here, they are already in use. They are means they are not future material. These all implants are already in uh, means the medical industry is already using all these things.
Oh, very good. Thank you. And in addition, this student has asked what kind of materials we can use for 3D printing. I think you have already told, but
Yes, I'll just show it.
yeah,
So in this one, so like means we can categorize material in three categories. So metal, polymer, and ceramics. There means in solid material, these are the broad three category. So in all three, we can use additive manufacturing. So since I'm from a background of metal, so I concentrated only on metal 3D printing, but polymer 3D printing is very widely used. Then ceramic 3D printing is also used. So in metals specifically, we produce the in aerospace industry the Ti-64 alloy. The titanium alloy is most used alloy in aerospace industry, and that is widely used using additive manufacturing. It is produced using additive manufacturing. Similarly, steels are the 316L steel is getting additive manufactured, and there are various studies that are going on to optimize the parameters for 3D for additive manufacturing of steels. Similarly, nickel alloys, the super alloys of nickel, all these are getting means studies are going on in producing all these alloys with superior properties using additive manufacturing techniques.
okay. Thank you. I'm getting a lot of questions. Quite an interesting topic here.
Yeah.
Sir, what will be the strength and durability of the material which is as compared to material made from traditional method? Are they
Yeah.
enhancing the strength of the materials? That is what he means to say.
Yeah. So as I already told you, like in many like in many studies people are able to produce additive manufactured alloys which had better fracture toughness than the traditional counterparts, which have better fatigue resistance than the traditional counterpart. So these means people by playing it is just a evolving means it's a very new technique. So all the knowledge of material manufacturing of hundreds of years that we have, that is all for traditional. So now since it is a very new technique, so it will take some time, but still what I'm saying is there are many studies which are showing that people are able to make materials with very good mechanical properties, much better than the traditional counterpart. Like in as I've shown in aerospace industry, the fatigue resistance of these alloys is better. The Ti-64 alloys that are produced by additive manufacturing, the fatigue resistance is better, the fracture toughness is better than the all the traditionally manufactured alloys. Means same traditionally manufactured Ti-64 alloy, the properties that we are getting. So as I've quoted also here, means I've shown the study from this Kumar. So they were also able to get a better fracture the fatigue resistance in uh, material that were produced by additive manufacturing than the traditional counterpart. So yeah, they are means the mechanical property is better.
Wow, indeed, it looks like they are improving the mechanical and chemical properties of the materials, and inherently they are improving the life of the material also.
Yes,
Right?
yes. So
Exactly.
the thing is, in like for metals, the mechanical behavior it means it completely depends on the microstructure. So there are means there are other properties also, but microstructure is the main thing that dictates the mechanical behavior. So by tailoring the microstructure, we can get a very enhanced means we can enhance the mechanical behavior of the cell, and that's what various researchers are trying to do.
Mhm. Okay. One student asked, how fast is 3D printing? How fast it is?
Yeah, so yeah, it is means comparatively it is slow. It means it depends on various factor. Like if you means if you increase the speed, then your porosity can be increased, and so I'm not sure exactly about the means how, because it's a very fastly evolving technique and people are getting new and new researches are coming where the speed is increasing, but it's a relatively slow process. It will take, like here I have shown, if you can see in this one, this is a laser deposition technique. So it is showing time also. I'll just, yeah, so you can see the time here also. So from this you can like think,
Analyze.
yeah, you can analyze how fast it is. So it's almost an hour and it has done this much. So printing, but if you are printing only the prototype, so this in prototyping, this speed is much higher than whatever other techniques are there, because you are just producing one component. If you are mass producing anything, then it means you required fast speed. But if you need only one or two component of anything, then speed, like it doesn't matter that much, and you get the finished product in just one step.
So definitely for specific applications and advanced applications and for customizing, we can definitely utilize this
Yeah.
technique for manufacturing equipments, metallic equipments in process industries, right?
Yes. So like this is a fuel tank, that is means this image I have taken from. So this is a fuel tank for the space program, that is from the NASA. So they are making the fuel tank using 3D printing. So it is used in like in
Process.
various places.
Okay. One guy asked, what is the difference between additive manufacturing and 3D printing?
So yeah, so it is a same thing like additive manufacturing. So 3D printing is a, you can say it's a more commonly known name. It's a general public, for general public. It's a more commonly known, because essentially what we are doing, we are layer by layer we are manufacturing the material. So we are adding the material on one layer, then another layer we are adding. So that's why it is called additive manufacturing. But yeah, a fancy name of it is also 3D printing, because we are printing the material in the 3 dimensions. So these both are same, means these are same name.
Okay. One question I got from one student. He says he has heard about rapid prototyping. What is the difference between? Is there any difference?
No, so yeah, rapid prototyping, as I've told. So whenever we are like in the field of designing, when you design a component, you want to make a prototype of it to check it in real environment. Means you can do all kind of simulation, FEM simulation, and all those things to check the mechanical behavior of that design. But still, it is very useful to check the material in real environment. So for that, you need to make the prototype of that design. So what happens is, if you go from a traditional route, so if you want to make a component that you have designed, so it will easily take few days for you to get a prototype of that one, from all the steps that I have already told is required in traditional manufacturing. But here, in few hours you can get your whatever design you have created, the digital model you have created. In few hours you can get the prototype of that, and you can check the mechanical, means whatever study you want to do on that design you can do, and then you can again change your design, then you can again make a new prototype. So in prototyping it is very useful. The additive manufacturing, it is most widely used in prototyping.
Okay. So I will conclude by saying thank you, Abhinav sir, for being a part of this webinar. And few points about additive manufacturing were discussed, and microstructures of the components which have been manufactured by additive manufacturing processes were discussed, and we could learn a lot about advanced materials and various applications of this process, basically the 3D printing or additive manufacturing, what I understood. So thank you, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor
Thank-
Rohit. And I would like to thank Parol University and the Department of Chemical Engineering for providing me this opportunity. So, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.